what is going on. It is March 4th, 2023, and I watched today a movie called Operation Fortune, with starring Jason Statham. It was a Guy Ritchie movie, and Hugh Grant was, I guess, the antagonist slash protagonist. There's spoilers ahead, so if you haven't watched this movie, yeah, don't let me spoil it for you by continuing to watch this review. However, I think if you've seen this movie, you've probably seen almost every other Jason Statham movie. That's not to say that it wasn't a good time. I'll say I enjoyed it. It started off kind of slow, and I don't know if it was the sequel to another movie that he did. I didn't read about a previous Fortune movie, but it seemed like it was a sequel because it started off hot, with all the characters, or at least Statham's character and the other two main characters known already. Otherwise, they maybe have, if it wasn't a sequel, they started out with them completely introduced, and they're trying a new technique where it doesn't even matter if there's a backstory to the characters. That, it's just immediately everything just falls into place. Actions from the get-go. I don't think the movie had a minute where there wasn't some kind of intense scene. There were, I guess, like I said, quick backdrop. I guess there's a MI6 agent named Orson Fortune, I guess, who's like a very rough kind of James Bond character, which I guess ever since Daniel Craig took over the Bond character back in the day, in 2006, people have decided that they only want rough around the edges, non-classy Bond types, which are more realistic, I guess. So maybe that's where Statham falls in this. So he's a MI6 agent who has assembled a team, which is like always the case. You always got to get that team going, and his team doesn't consist of the usual suspects. His team, which I guess are like, those are people that he's worked with in the past, I guess. They all went over to another team, which is a rival competition team, a government contractor who I presume works for the United States or something like that. I don't know. Or they work for MI6. The main character from that side sounds American. Whatever. So the long and the short of that is that Statham, he's tasked reluctantly by the leader of like MI6 to okay, here's where the story starts. The scene opens, like, even before you're introduced to Statham, I guess simultaneously, the scene opens up where there's a lab that's being violently raided, and people are being killed, and the lab is ultimately blown up for something called the Handle, which no one knows what it is. And eventually you learn through the course of the actions of Statham, this sassy hacker girl, which is like, a trope at this point, but whatever, sassy hacker girl who can do a little bit of action stuff, which she does later on, and another guy who can do a lot of shooting, works with Statham to I guess retrieve Handle, and we find out, so he has to go to this billionaire arms dealer who's very well connected and who's obsessed with movie stars, to get him to complete a deal between somebody who wants the Handle technology, whatever, and somebody who's selling it. It's being sold by Russians, apparently, who stole it from a Russian lab, I assume, or some lab. And so there's an actor who's sent to do the work of trying to convince this billionaire, get on his good side, and sneak people into this billionaire's mansion, get him to go on vacation, to start doing the hacking thing and sending data over. Okay, so like they have to essentially intercept that team. MI6 team has to intercept this transmission, make sure everything works out such that the transition goes smoothly and actually transition the funds to their own account. And it ends up, I guess, the movie is basically set up to shock and awe. Well, not really shock and awe, it's standard, but it's exciting in a fun way. It's set up for Statham to do his usual antics and start running around and shooting things, and he becomes a one-man army as per usual, or as per most usual. Sometimes he's not a one-man army, sometimes he is. This movie, he happened to play a one-man army, which actually from the beginning, I don't know if we were certain he was going to do that. He has his kind of dryish, thumb-like humor, which kind of serves the movie as he goes around and shoots people and breaks people's necks and stabs people, John Wick style. And so like long and the short of it, about recapping the whole movie, because you can recap the movie on Wikipedia. I'll say that, I mean, it felt like every other movie of his that I watched, but I thought there were some smooth executions to the movie. Now, whether the story made sense or not, my brain wasn't engaged on that level that much. Like, I wasn't actively trying to think at that time whether this is something that could actually happen, which at this point in my life, I'm certain you're not supposed to really think about that kind of thing too much while watching these movies. But sometimes it's fun, and I think, I don't know, Hugh Grant did play, let's skip to the, acting. Okay, so the actor that was used to lure Hugh Grant's character, which I don't even remember his name, but I remember Hugh Grant. The actor that was used to lure his character was played by Josh Hartnett, who was like an international film, Tom Cruise-like action hero who apparently is very finicky and also scared of real-life action, but also kind of has this desire to optimize his acting by taking on real scenes that are very, death-defying, so to speak. So the whole time he's acting simultaneously scared, but also very into going through the scenes. And I thought his acting was all right. It wasn't the most exciting, but whatever. He was playing the character he was supposed to do. Statham's acting is, like I already had commented, he acted as he did like since time immemorial. And okay, great, good for you. I'm happy he's doing what he's doing so effectively, I guess. So Statham's acting is Statham's acting. The girl's acting, who I don't know, I've never seen her before, so she must be new on the scene, so to speak, was, it was interesting. I say that could have been a little bit better. I think some scenes, some flamboyancy. I think she was trying to act partially flamboyant. She's also trying to play the hacker genius girl who could get into anything. But I can say that it was, kind of annoying because, yes, we get it. Girls can code, girls can hack. Okay, all right. It wasn't overdone though. Like I felt it wasn't cartoonish levels of like rub it in your face, the technical acumen of women. At least I felt there was a line when it was like, yes, okay, it's tolerable, I understand, and I appreciate it. Whatever. Okay. There was also some scenes that were considered like, okay, the Russians were stereotypically Russian, I guess. They're playing the villains. I mean, what else is there to say? And the British mid-level boss, who was the team's boss, had like a back and forth witty / tension-filled banter with Statham, which seemed fun, but was also like, okay, it's a component of every one of these movies. I felt like there was a formulaic element. In the end of the movie, the guys, they walked off into the sunset. Yes, that's every trope of every movie since time immemorial. And I thought by now in 2023 we had already established that these kinds of things, like I don't know, tropes work, I guess. The average person doesn't think too much about these, especially the average young person, who I assume is the target audience for this. But I think I liked it, in the sense that I'm used to his movies, and I like his. I don't know. Is there a serious movie that he's ever done where he's acted in a serious manner? I don't know. I don't know where he's acted like ever, other than the same way he's acted in this movie. And I would like to believe that he can. I just don't know that he ever will. And I think he's fabulously wealthy and has long gone past the point where he has to act anyway. He can do whatever the heck he wants. But at the same time, I guess that's what makes him funny. It's strange. Anyway, so to other actors in the movie, you had Statham, you had, I don't know, and then you had JJ, which is Statham's right-hand guy, who, I don't know, I think they managed to, he was a serious type of guy with a little bit of humor associated with him. He did a lot of help, he did play a lot of that second guy role he did the button man work in the movie. He didn't do any of the super hacky things. He just kind of helped out with he was an all-arounder, as they called it, But he definitely, I think he definitely played. His dynamic worked well, but I felt that they could have gotten more out of his character. Like, his character didn't show much self-determination, which is, I guess, okay. He was like the by-the-books kind of guy who helped out the main character, but he didn't really. I felt he could have had more dynamic acting. I don't know. They could have written him better lines or something like that. Like, they could have made more out of his character. Again, the movie was devoid of anything that wasn't action hero related. I don't know if there's anything at this point that is expected that wasn't delivered from this movie. There wasn't a serious scene to be found, a dramatic scene to be found. There was nothing but comedy and action and thrill elements there. But I think Hugh Grant's acting was actually quite great. Like, he did play the flamboyant, esoteric arms dealer billionaire pretty well, with lots of power and again, flamboyancy, in the sense that he was able to really play a very convincing role in terms of his intensity. I don't know, it was okay. So with that being said, would I watch this movie? Would I recommend this movie? I would, because I consider myself somewhat of an intellectual, but from time to time I am a fan of it's the mind numbers, let's say. And I think it wasn't a complete mind number, in the sense that there was some clever humor in the movie. There were some generally good execution of the acting in the movie. I'll say that much. So I didn't hate it, and I quite liked it. Not the best in the world, but I would give it a 3 out of 4 stars for me, and I would watch it again. If I were to give it 5 stars, I would probably give it 3.5 or something like that. I don't know, but 4 for my own personal tastes for these kinds of things. Okay, well, I will see you around. Thanks for watching my review.